Guys, in January, the UFC is coming back with Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway. Nick and I are talking about that great fight right now. What's up, Barnhill fam? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, the calendar year 2020 is done, but a lot of great fights to look forward to in 2021. The UFC is officially kicking off the Fight Island with a great card headlined by none other than Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. Yeah. This is a great fight, which is, I believe, truly that styles make matchups, and this is a great stylistic matchup.
Yeah, and, I can't help but get super excited for this whole Fight Island extravaganza
trio,
part 3 or part 4, whatever it is. The UFC's been there a few times this year. But I'm just a little bit selfish of a fight fan where, back in the day, 10, 20 years ago, we used to get only a few cards,
right?
A year. And now we're like waiting 2 and 3 weeks and we're like, geez, when is the fight's going to start back again? It's ridiculous. But the never sleeping workhorse that is the UFC deserves a couple weeks off. Let everybody go home and enjoy the holidays. But come early or mid-January, we're going to see some great fights.
Right back at it. Yeah, and there'll be some content I'm sure the UFC will put out leading up to this next installment of Fight Island. But yeah, it's so true because it's like there used to be one great card every month or every couple of months. Now it's like there's a great card every weekend. Yeah. And then you get 3 weeks off. It's almost like the UFC has done it to themselves. It's like the fans are like, what the heck? You guys are giving us something every week, and now we got to take almost a month off. It will almost be a month because the last card was the 19th, which was Thompson and Neal, and now it's going to be the 16th of January when they kick off this trio in Fight Island. But I guess they're going to make us wait, but in turn, they're going to give us 3 bangers of headliners at least, and also great undercards as well.
Absolutely.
But talking about Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, I really like this matchup, and I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people still believe that Max Holloway should be the 145 champion. He had extremely close fights with Volkanovski. I think he won one of the two personally. I think Volkanovski got one and Max got one. I think Max won the second one. That said, I respect the scores, and Max is no longer the champion. This is sort of getting him back in contention for that title shot against somebody who, in my opinion, fights very similar to him. Tall, long, very good with range, very good boxing, very good cardio. I think this is a great matchup, and I think the winner of this fight certainly reestablishes himself, or either for Kattar establishes himself, or for Max reestablishes himself as the true number one contender to take another shot at that belt.
Yeah, I agree that whoever comes out of this will be a number one contender, and that's the fun thing about this sport is even though you can win all the fights and become undeniable, you still it's like a timing thing where Max Holloway, if he comes out over Calvin Kattar and wins and even looks as impressive as possible doing it, he's still not likely to get another title shot against Volkanovski. Now, if somebody can come dethrone Volkanovski, then of course Max gets another shot. But when you lose 2 in a row to a guy, generally you don't get that third fight. If anybody does deserve a third fight after 2 losses to the same guy, it's Max versus Volkanovski. A lot of people want to see those guys go at it again. I think that Zabit is one of those guys too that is going to have to be considered the number one contender. I know that they've been trying to put that Yair versus Zabit thing together for a long time, and now it seems like Zabit and Yair are going different ways, and they've it was weird because they didn't fight, but we kind of realized in that them not fighting who the number one contender was and who's taking the back seat on that.
Right.
And Zabit is the one that they're going to kind of push forward, and with one win, he'll be the number one contender. And with one win, obviously, I think Calvin Kattar could be a number one contender. But I think there's some very fun things at the top of 145 that just have to play out in the beginning part of next year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to really largely depend on as far as who gets the next. We know who's getting the next title shot. That's T-City Ortega. Right. That fight is all but done. Brian T-City versus Alexander Volkanovski for the 145 undisputed title. Who wins this fight on the 16th will play into that. If it's Kattar, I think it doesn't matter who wins the Volkanovski versus Ortega fight. If it's Holloway, I do think the winner of Volkanovski versus Ortega does change some people's opinion and maybe the matchmaker's opinion. case in point, I think that if the winner is Volkanovski and Max happens to get past Kattar, they're probably going to lean towards Zabit and give him that shot. Whereas if Kattar wins and Ortega wins, they're probably going to make that fight. So it really does a lot of moving pieces going on at 145 right now, and it's a very fun division, and it's a division where I truly believe that, you see other divisions where you have like a Khabib at 155, or even Davison now is establishing himself at 125. Stipe, has kind of established himself as the guy at heavyweight. I'm not sure that Volkanovski has quite done that yet. I think there are people that can beat him at 145, and I think there's people. I think it could almost be like a round robin sort of thing. I'm looking to see that title change hands a couple of times, possibly even in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would like to agree with that, and they probably do agree with that. But Max Holloway is the guy at 145. He's the guy, and Volkanovski beat him twice. And the people whose opinion mattered the most on those nights said that he got those 2 wins. And look, Volkanovski taking the belt against Max Holloway is a huge deal. And then having to go do it all over again, that's a tall order. A lot of champions don't want to do stuff like that. And, he goes, look, I'll do it. I beat him. I'll give him a rematch. And now everybody wants to just see a third fight. And he's like, look, I've already beat him twice. I just want some fresh blood in there. I think that Volkanovski, if he can beat T-City Ortega, he needs to get a little respect put on his name because, T-City looked pretty flawless against Korean Zombie in his last fight, but Volkanovski looked damn perfect against Max Holloway 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I just think that while he's in my opinion, unfortunately, one of the least appreciated and respected champions in the UFC, eventually some people are going to have to put some respect on his name because he's doing things that almost nobody else in the world can do.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have to he'll be looking for that signature win against Ortega. Yeah. I think the reason that he hasn't gotten a lot of respect put on his name is because everybody was so partial to Max. I mean, who doesn't love Max Blessed Holloway? He's such a young champion. He carries himself very well. He's even still as a young fighter, he's arguably the best 145er of all time. You could maybe say that Jose Aldo should take that prize over him as it currently sits right now. But certainly Max Holloway's in the discussion for the best 145er in UFC history. And then when you have 2 very close, somewhat controversial losses, people tend to, and even myself, I'll throw myself into the grouping as well, don't want to give as much respect to the new champion as he probably deserves. And I think you're going to see a Volkanovski come out and really try to make a statement against Brian Ortega, which I think is going to be a great fight. But if we get back to the actual fight between Holloway and Kattar, this is a tough one to really determine how this is going to go because these guys have a lot of similar strengths. They both have great gas tanks. They both are very tall and rangy for the division. They both are very good with their striking. They both come forward and like to sort of start the exchanges. And neither one of them are, in my opinion, really a counter striker. They're looking to be offensive. They're looking to come at you. So how do you see this fight playing out?
I think Calvin Kattar sees a huge moment to seize a monumental day in his career. If he can beat Max Holloway, it's off to the races from here. He'll likely get a title shot in 2021. May have to do a little more heavy lifting, but this is a huge moment for him. Max Holloway has been in there with bigger names than Calvin Kattar, and until we see how Calvin Kattar comes out and fights, he has been in there with people who are more difficult to beat than Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar can't say the same. He's had a tough schedule, but he hasn't had a Max Holloway yet. So
his toughest test, I think, to date would be the decision loss to Zabit, which I think was 2 fights ago for Kattar.
Yeah, and maybe he'll want to get that one back before he gets a title fight, and who knows? But I think Max Holloway sees a path back to the top. I think what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to do a little heavy lifting as well, because if you're a fan of Max Holloway, you want to see him get the belt again at someday. And if he goes and fights Volkanovski again and loses again, he'll never get another shot at that.
Yeah, if you lose 3 in a row, then at that point, you either have to change divisions, but as long as Volkanovski holds the belt, you're not getting another shot.
Right, and if Volkanovski can beat Max Holloway 3 times, then who's to say that belt's going anywhere anytime soon?
Well, if that happens, who's to say that Volkanovski wouldn't? I mean, if you're talking about Max being the best 145er of all time, how could you not say the guy that beat him 3 times is not the best 145er of all time?
Right, exactly. And I think maybe we'll see Max fight Calvin Kattar and win or lose fight again before he gets another shot at the title. If he wins, maybe he'll get a Zabit or somebody like that. And if he loses, they're probably going to start to look for some tougher guys that he can help build their names by trying to give these young up and comers some big names to win over. And it's just a crazy. It's kind of like a crossroads for Max, because I think Max is still very much a top contender and he's still so young. But if he stumbles again, it's going to be tough just because of the record. And I think his momentum and his confidence are going to start to question themselves. And it's going to be
This
tough.
is very much like Max is in a similar situation to Tony Ferguson before he lost to Gaethje.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, if I win this fight, I'm right back in the mix. I can say, hey, listen, I believe that I beat the champ at least one of the 2 times. I mean, you can make an argument for both. I think it's at least one of the 2 times. I'm the guy. I'm the best 145er of all time. I just did away with a guy that you guys were touting as a serious threat and a contender. Or conversely, if he loses, that's a couple of losses in a short period of time, including 2 to the champ. As you said, Max starts to fall way back, and then he becomes the guy that maybe you try to put him against Zabit next and see if Zabit can establish a marquee career win against him. So it's the matchmaking for Max will vary greatly going forward, depending on the outcome of this fight on the 16th of January.
Yeah, and Max Holloway is a game fighter, and he's a great finisher. I have a feeling after his last few outings and the judges kind of screwing him, I'm sure he feels that way, a lot of fans do, that he's going to try to take this all of his fight from here on out of the judges' hands. And I think Calvin Kattar needs to be ready for that, because I think you're going to see a Max Holloway looking to finish not just Kattar, but everybody in his way from here on out, because he can't trust the judges anymore. They've screwed him in his mind twice. A lot of people's mine included yours, for sure, in that second fight. I think Volkanovski did great. He did win some rounds, win some minutes, but Max won 3 rounds in that fight, in my opinion. And at this point, he realizes they're not on his team, and he's got to just do what he can and take it out of their hands.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Max will certainly be looking for the finish. Yeah. I mean, you can't get what you consider to be 2 raw decisions in a row and have any other game plan than to look for the finish. Calvin Kattar, he also looks for the finish. I believe he's got 11 KO wins out of 22 victories, I think. It's absolute stud of a boxer. I think that this matchup is really, and I don't normally say this about the main event, but I do believe this has fight of the night written all over it, because these guys are both hard to put away. They're both going to try to put each other away, and I think it's going to make for a great fight. I'm just going to – something tells me this fight is not going to go the distance, but it's going to go to at least round 4. I think this is going to be a war all the way up. It's going to be 3 rounds of a war, and I'm thinking that there's a finish in round 4 or even possibly round 5. And right now, I've got to be honest, I'm leaning towards Max. I believe that Max has – he does everything Calvin Kattar does, just a little bit better, and he's a little bit more seasoned and polished. He's certainly got more 5-round main event experience than Kattar does. And I think when you look at things that are, for all intents and purposes, very equal size, cardio, skill of boxing, where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, it's very these 2 guys are very similar in that regard. Then it goes to who's got the most experience, who's going to be more seasoned in a 5-round main event, who's going to know what to do to win rounds and to pick up when somebody might be breathing a little bit deeper. All of those things, I think Max is going to rise to the occasion, and I think he's probably going to finish the fight late.
Yeah, that's a great prediction. I have Max getting a finish as well as of right now. this is still pretty much an early prediction because I like to see
Yeah.
not the embeddeds really, but like the build-ups and watch
Yeah.
their Instagrams and see how they're going. But
a lot can change. And guys, by the way, we do make like full predictions, like week of the fight card. These are like early preliminary predictions. But as we get closer and we get to the week of the fight, we will predict the full main card and give an updated prediction. So be sure to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. I think Calvin Kattar has something to prove too, because I don't believe, and I could be wrong on this stat, but I think I'm spot on. Max has never been dropped.
I think you're right.
In all of his fights, he's never been dropped, so he's got a granite chin on him. And if you go look at the resume that he's built up, you got the Conor McGregors on there, couldn't drop him. The Jose Aldos, the biggest names the sport's ever seen, and especially the featherweight division. If Calvin Kattar can drop Max Holloway, not even saying finish him, but if he can drop him, that's a big feather in his cap.
You did something that Jose and Conor were not able to do.
Right, and that would speak volumes on Calvin Kattar's boxing skills. I happen to think he has the best straight punches in the game. Definitely in the featherweight division. He's got super crisp, long punches, and his feet work really well with them. He's a very strong fighter, very long fighter, and he uses his range, which is very difficult for a lot of people to do, especially offensively. A lot of people can think about, when they think about range, they think about moving backwards, but he likes to use his range while moving forward, which is very impressive. I think he's going to be looking to change that statistic for Max and try to drop him.
That's a great point. Yeah, if you can be the first person to drop Max Holloway, you can officially say you've done something that McGregor and Aldo
and all the rest of them
and everybody else, but those two names specifically, huge names, were not able to do. I mean, listen, Max is such a warrior. He was literally weight cutting to fight Khabib on like 5 days' notice. Yeah. I mean, the guy was going to step in there with Khabib Nurmagomedov. He did step in there with Dustin Poirier for the interim 155 champion. Max is as game as they come. I will say for Calvin, though, I know I'm not predicting him early on, at least. My prediction may change. I'm not predicting him right now to win this fight, but there is a lot of momentum in that Massachusetts camp right now. Sure. They've got some good things going on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, Rob Font just came off a huge victory, maybe the biggest of his career, and I think you're gonna feel that energy in the gym over there. So I think Calvin was in his corner. They were probably feeling really good that night. They know that what they're working on in the gym is paying off,
right?
And I just think that Rob Font ended 2020 with a bang and a great positive way for their camp. I think Calvin's going to be looking to start 2021 with a bang and a positive move forward.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let us know in the comments below, what do you think about this fight? We think this is a great matchup. It's a great way to start off the Fight Island trio. Let us know who you think is going to win and how. This is a very interesting fight, and I truly believe a very hard one to predict. This is going to come down to really, I think, the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at the Vegas odds, and then might skew my prediction.
Exactly. But guys, as always, we appreciate you watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you'd enjoyed the content, and check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts. Until the next one, have a great day.
Peace.